All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Dani and John, All Things Parking.
So All Things Parking, what is this episode? Is this the season finale or is this
This is the season finale of season 1.
Season 1 in the bell? Woo!
Here we are.
Okay, Dani, what's the show
All
about?
right, you guys, I'm so excited for today's, for this episode, for the season finale, because we have a very special guest today, someone who we've been trying to talk into being a guest on our podcast for quite a while now. In the house, we have VP of Parking and Mobility for OVG 360, Mr. Joe Leung.
Joe Leung. Welcome, Joe.
John, how long you've been saying my name like that?
I have been
15
saying
years?
I've been saying
years?
it a long time. A
Yeah.
long time. Joe Leung.
Used to hear that down the hallways of our office. And,
Oh, I'm
you
sure.
know,
I'm
Very
sure.
disruptive,
Yes,
as you can
yes.
imagine. That's
Yeah.
but
kinda
effective. But effective.
Kind
Very
of
effective.
surprising.
I'm sure the second that you walked in and he heard your voice, he was like, and he did. I'm not even going to try to replicate it because I can't even do it justice.
Joe
Now I kind of want you to try.
Leung. Yeah.
I'm going to start when we're in office together, Joe. You're going to start hearing me say that now.
Yeah, I'll respond to it.
I'm the quiet one in the office with no personality.
Did you see?
Said
There was
nobody
silence.
ever.
Yeah, there was a moment of silence there because we don't
I know
believe you by
guys
any
were
means.
you guys were
Stunned. Stunned.
That's definitely not the case. Anyway, so wow, Joe. So really proud of you and what you guys are doing and what you've accomplished in parking. Wow, it's pretty cool. We've been kind of talking about it. Obviously, Dani works for OVG, but OVG.
I work for Joe. Joe's my boss.
We work
You
together.
can say it.
We work together.
OVG is I'm starting to see a lot of OVG, and when you see large venues and you're talking about you guys have an exciting move to Denver and a lot of stuff going on.
So before we get into the nitty gritty of this entire episode, Joe, I did prepare you for this. I think everyone needs to know your story and how you got started in parking. So give us your elevator pitch here.
Yeah, and
Sure.
are you still lying to your parents, or what are you telling your parents you do?
Well, out of the 3 siblings between my mom and her husband, I have the most easily understandable job. So my brother's a chemical engineer, and her husband's son works in pharmaceutical development. So parking cars, they've done that. They haven't done the other stuff.
Yeah.
So they actually understand my job more than you would think.
Do they have brand loyalty?
Well, they don't go to a lot of concerts or
Right.
games. So
Otherwise, they would, I'm sure.
otherwise they would.
Yes,
They would.
they're not parking anywhere they're not parking anywhere that's not a venue of Joe's. So
That's right. And I'm probably buying the parking for them.
Yeah.
So
there's brand loyalty.
You've been parking cars for a while now. I know that because we worked together for a while, but.
Yeah,
So
my hair wasn't gray when I started parking cars, so it is
And
now.
I had more hair, and mine wasn't as gray.
Yeah.
Only Chris Connolly's was gay, or not gay, but gray. Sorry, I've had a few beers. Sorry, Chris Connolly, if you're listening. I understand that you're not gay, but you were gray. It's pretty funny.
Yes, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So a long time ago. But
So your parents got it right away? They just. I mean, they
I
might
don't know
get
if they
it now.
got it, but I think they get it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, they understanding that when you go to an event, you have to park your car and pay for parking. That was a lot easier to understand than doing commercial.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my parents get it now for sure, but they totally didn't get it in the beginning, as everybody knows.
My parents still don't understand. They think I hang signs. Actually, when we were in Pittsburgh, I told you, I was like, we got in the car and I was like, I just had this really annoying conversation with my parents because my mom was like, "Oh, you're in Pittsburgh. Oh, you're at an arena. What do you do? Do you hang signs?" And I was like,
That's
sure.
one of the things.
Yeah, if I have to.
I'll hang the
Yeah,
sign.
so
Yeah.
Joe could tell you this. I mean, we were on a roll for a period of time together in the Ryder Square garage in Denver.
Yeah, do not let John hang a sign.
That's right. I hung a sign and drilled a hole literally right through my hand. So like
You know
I
what
couldn't,
happens.
I didn't have like the right screws to go into the concrete wall. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get a starter. So I grabbed the sign and grabbed the screw, and my hand was behind it, and it went right through the sign and right through my hand. Yeah. It was
Workers'
great
comp. Workers' comp.
experience.
All right. So going back, Joe, sorry, we derailed there a little bit, but
I
We
fully
always
expected
derail,
all this.
of
so,
course,
Yeah.
you have, we can go on for days about this, but tell us your story.
Sure. Like most people, by accident. So I was at
Tripped
Headhunter.
into it?
What's that? Yeah, I tricked into it. Yeah, tripped into it, or tricked or tripped.
Tricked
Yeah,
or
I think
tripped?
I'm more tripped. But I was a headhunter for many years before I got into parking. Really enjoyed it, but it was very transient. And I was younger and, pretty bullheaded. So you'd start making some money and they would change your commission package, and being kind of strong-willed, I said, well, if you do that, then I'll leave and go somewhere else. And then I would leave and go somewhere else. So just became, whereas, the short-term nature of the jobs wasn't very attractive anymore. We wanted to expand our family and get a little more stable. Got laid off from my recruiting job. Was looking at what to do next, and my wife was in commercial property management at the time, and said, well, we have a security manager position and a parking manager position. And even though I have a degree in criminal justice, which I've never used in my life, but
And like a black belt in jiu-jitsu or something.
no, I do not.
But, like,
No, I do not have that. No,
And
I
a
do
great
not. That.
hockey
something-
player
something
who
along those
probably could
lines.
play NHL
Oh my
in his
gosh.
time.
Oh my
you
gosh.
actually fit like the security part probably a little more than the parking, but you
No, not at all. Neither of those things that you guys said. But, like when I graduated high school when I was 17, I wanted to be a police officer because they didn't sit in an office all day. That was my 17-year-old brain only thought of the one job I could think of that doesn't sit in an office all day, and that was police officer. So
And
that's why I went to
parking.
school there.
And parking is that way.
So now fast forward to when I have to make this decision: security manager who sits at their desk a lot, or parking manager who gets to get out. And my 17-year-old brain said, I'm going to go do parking. And at the time, my soon-to-be boss actually told the client not to hire me. So
Who was that?
I'll give you one guess, but we won't get into that.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
Wow.
whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But she
Well, when we're talking about
Bad
the other
bosses.
side of criminal justice,
Yes,
when we're talking about
okay.
actually being behind bars, that would be that person.
got it.
yes, we don't need to get into
we
all
won't
that.
mention that or names or anything.
But actually went to the property manager, said he's not going to stay. I don't think you should hire him. The property manager said, well, you haven't had a manager for 6 months, so you're going to hire him. And 23 years later, here I am.
Wow.
Here
So,
you are.
Yeah.
have you like Joe? He plays hockey, and back in the day, you see the freaking legs that he's got on him. I mean, it's like
but
unbelievable.
we travel around to all these arenas, and a lot of the arenas have like a staff skate, and so I'm always like, Joe, let's get out there. Let's try. I'd get out there. I'd
I'd
do
be
it.
intimidated to skate. I could
Oh.
skate pretty good, but
I can
I'd be like,
I can roller skate. I don't know how good at ice skating I am, or playing
if
hockey.
you can roller
but
skate, you
probably-
could
I
probably
could try some
skate. It's
hockey.
just a little more intimidating because if you go down on the ice, like it hurts. So as Joe could probably tell you,
There's pads that
yeah.
help
But if you don't have pads,
if you don't have pads.
I mean,
that's
yeah.
you're
brutal.
not playing hockey, hopefully, without pads, Conway.
Some
But
of
I don't
us
know. Maybe you are.
up in upstate New York, 20 beers and no pads. That's how we do it.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, upstate New York. They do it a little different out there.
Yeah, we do. Lake George.
Little pond
Shout
hockey.
out to the LGers.
All right.
Yeah.
So today is also a special episode because we wanted to get to know Joe's story a little bit, but
Yeah, I had this idea, and I think being the 10th podcast, 10th installation of
Yeah.
the podcast, I thought it'd be fun to kind of flip the script a little bit And instead, I could interview both of you.
We're gonna flip the
Oh
script.
my
Let's
God.
do
Are you
it.
kidding me?
We're
We're being hijacked?
Yeah, we're being
hijacked.
hijacked.
You guys. Holy wow.
Find a little bit more about you both as people. And I think we found out a lot during the season, but really kind of, dig into some fun stuff, dig into some industry stuff and just, explore your backgrounds a little bit more.
All right, let's do it. Let's
Wow.
go.
Oh my God.
I feel like
I'm not
we're.
prepared for this.
I feel like we're on I feel like we're on a face-off right
I'm
now.
a little scared right now
I would be too.
because Joe knows a
Where are
lot
you?
about me. He knows a lot about my background. There might be stuff I don't want out now.
We won't bring those stuff. We
Okay.
won't bring that stuff up. We
Okay,
won't
I
bring
feel
that
better
stuff
now.
up. Yeah, but like in the first episode, right? You talk about both of your stories about getting into parking and what that took and what that journey was. But I guess my question is, you got into it accidentally. When did you realize that? Oh no, I just made parking a career, and I'm okay with that.
Wow.
Was there a
It's
moment?
a really good question.
That is a good question.
Um,
I'm going to let you go first because I want to think about that one.
well, I've been in the parking industry a lot, like in a lot less time than you have, Conway. But I think it was, and I don't know if this is my definite answer or not, but I think it was when I was able to bring my family into the industry and seeing that, because both of my brothers have been in the industry, I was able to bring them on when I was in operations, and they're still in it. And I think seeing that it was I loved it so much and sharing my passion with them and them loving it so much. I think that was probably that was my sign where it was like, oh, hey, we can do this.
This is happening. Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah.
And did that change your dinner table conversations from, various topics to only parking now?
Till this day.
Yeah.
Till this day. It has. Which is a lot of fun though, right?
Yeah.
We talk. I was on the phone. Actually, I forget who I was with. Someone was in the car with me, and I was talking to Cody or Casey, and I was talking about ingress and egress. And when I hang up, they're like, "Oh, that's so crazy. This other person is also in parking." And they're like, "Your brothers understand what ingress and egress means?" I was like, "Oh no, they're in the industry." They're like, "That's a little strange," but I'm like, it's kind of a family business. And so, I think once I realized that we all, kind of loved it, I think that was when I realized that it was a lifetime.
A little
career
bit
for
of
me.
excitement when your family gets into the industry and understands more about what you go through.
I mean,
I'm living that a little bit right now. Yeah. Right? I'm living that a little bit right now, which is wonderful.
You can speak to this as well.
Yeah.
I think it's something that is it's kind of like an underdog career. I feel like it's kind of like an underdog career where people don't really understand what you do, and so when you can speak to it in different capacities, I think is really special. Yeah. And so,
I put my glasses on for a reason.
Parking prime.
I'm not trying to be parking prime, but I actually will get emotional here. You've got me on this question because it's as I started thinking about it, it's like as I told the story, my wife and I, we struggled. I was in the military, as you know, and she didn't work. We were young. And then I went up to upstate New York, as you know, and I got that job as a sheriff, and then it was pulled out from under me. It was humiliating. But when we came to Colorado, we didn't have a dime.
right.
And then she got pregnant. And so, I got into parking by mistake. And so when I realized it was a career, at the time I was working the ABM job, and then I was working Kmart from 11 to 7 cashiering at night because I had to.
So you're the reason they went out of business?
Yeah, probably. And I realized by looking at my boss at the time how successful he was. I would go over his house and I would see his family, and it was a financial thing. I saw that and I was like, wow, like he's in parking. He's training me. He's doing what I'm doing. And look at what a great family, and look at his house, and look at his life. Like I don't have any of that right now. I'm working at Kmart. I didn't tell anybody. And wow. And I saw financial stability
right.
for my family.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's what it was about for me.
I agree. You know,
and that's when I knew, when I was looking at his life.
I agree with you there, John, too. It's like, I am very family focused, and I'm incredibly close to my brothers, to my mom, and to my dad. And people are like, "Oh my God, you work with your brothers," and we work so well. We're so close. We work so well together that, like, being able to, even though we don't work at the same company anymore, we used to, but like, even though that we're in the same industry, and it's brought us a lot closer, right? Like, we have so much in common. We do different things, but we can really, like, come together and you know, and really talk about things that we're passionate about, which is weird that it's parking.
Yeah. And what Joe said earlier was, my personality was not a desk personality either. And maybe that's why I was drawn to law enforcement and being a sheriff. Yeah. But, you know, I realized in parking, there's no, I call it executivitis.
Right.
So as I came up over the years, there were people that wanted to be at desks, and it was very frustrating to me. Right. That worked for me on my team. If you want to be an executive and you want to sit at a desk, like, this is not the industry for you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you got to get out.
Yeah.
Like, you're at your desk too much.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
you know?
it's that variety of what you get to do, right? You know, if I can be a marketing person today, a finance person tomorrow, an ops person the next day, you know, and everything in between, and help develop people and be developed. And it's just that variety that's always kept me, like, challenged, interested, you know, looking for what's next. And I think your point about the switch between I want to work a job and I want to have a career.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think everybody gets into parking going, okay, I'm going to do this for now until I find what's next. And then all of a sudden they realize, you know what's next is kind of the next level up. And there's like this career path that nobody knows about and is available to virtually everybody. Right? Virtually everybody could come in, apply for a parking manager or parking supervisor, or an attendant, whatever it may be, roll with an operator or a technology company, and find a career path that's not only going to be fulfilling, pay pretty well in most cases.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've said on this show for a long time, parking industry has been good to myself and my family. And I love the industry. I'm passionate about it. I'm just as passionate about it as I was at 24, you know?
I agree with you.
So,
well, let's go back to your military. So, so was there something during your, you know, that you learned maybe during your lead at training or any of those lead at missions that you went on that you still use today? And maybe first explain what that is.
It's a good question. You know,
what's lead at?
So lead at, and you're right. I didn't really. If you go back and listen to the episode, I said counter narcotics, but the lead at.
But I know what you did.
Yeah,
John.
yeah. So the lead at was a law enforcement detachment team in the U.S. Coast Guard, and so at the time the primary mission was search and rescue. Of course, that's Coast Guard. And then there was a faction of the Coast Guard that I was a part of called the leadette team. There was 24 leadettes throughout the country. And I was stationed at an Air Force base. There were 2 leadette teams there, 1 Alpha and 1 Bravo. I think I was on 1 Bravo. And our mission was counter narcotics in the Caribbean. And so we would deploy off of U.S. Navy ships. So I actually didn't work with the Coast Guard. I would fly to either Roosevelt Roads or Guantanamo Bay or Virginia. And I think one of the things that I took from my military experience, because I went to CSU, which you'll appreciate, Seth. And some people will go, "Why does he have this?" And I'll explain that. But
for those of you who are not watching YouTube, he is in a CU sweater, by the way.
That's right. And so I think I learned, discipline, and you don't get to make excuses. And so when it's like, sorry, I was busy, or sorry, I didn't do this, or sorry, I didn't do that. There was none of that. Like, nobody had any time for that. And most of the time it was, you're in situations where, you have to do what you say you're going to do, and that's it. And I learned quickly, everybody wanted to be deployed. Everybody wanted to be a part of the program, and they had a very strict and stringent process. You had to qualify for them to, when you go out on that Navy ship, we were 7 people. We would go into what they call CIC, into a Navy ship. The person on any given time on our watch, so we would have to stand watch for like 4 hours a day. There were 7 of us, so we would shift off, and we would literally make a decision. You're talking about an Aegis cruiser. Make a decision at 3 o'clock in the morning to turn that boat around based on information that we're getting. And we want to do 72 knots across the water and spend, $1.5 million in fuel going after this contact. And so what we were always told is, you don't bullshit that commander that's on duty, because they knew they were going to go and do Leo ops. The Navy called it Leo ops. Mm-hmm. So this person, these are like career Navy commanders that are, very serious about what they do, right? Trying to make admiral or whatever. So they're in charge of a combat center, and the captain's asleep. And so if he's going to wake the captain up based on what you're telling him, he's going to ask you questions, and he already knows the answers. That's how we were trained. This person spent their entire summer reading every Coast Guard manual on Leo ops, leadet ops. Right. So they probably knew more than I did. So the one lesson that I learned was, don't bullshit that guy at 2 o'clock in the morning. If you want him to turn around and he asks you a question, know. And if you don't know, the key thing is, I don't know, but let me contact, so-and-so, and we'll get the answer for you.
And how many times have you had that conversation with an employee to say it's okay to say, I don't know?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But make sure to follow that up with, but I will find out and let you know soon. Very soon.
So it was discipline in a what do they call it? Emotional discipline or whatever. I mean, 3 o'clock in the morning, we're excited. I want to bust, right? I want to get that 70,000 pounds of marijuana, right? Which I was involved in one of those. Yeah. Yeah. But you have to be disciplined, and you have to be, you
have to know your stuff when you're going for something.
And if you don't bullshit the guy.
Right.
And I'm in sales right now, so.
So you're a total bullshitter.
I'm a total bullshitter. But there's a difference between bullshitting with no confidence and then, bullshitting with some confidence.
So I guess that's a lesson. He learned how to bullshit with confidence. That's what I just took away from that whole conversation.
30 years in parking, I think I'm pretty confident I can bullshit with the best of them. But
you were never in the military.
I was not. Nope. Not yet anyway.
Not yet. Day's not over. So, maybe. But you did grow up in a small town, which most people, and not a small town, but a small town.
Very small.
Right. And so a different kind of upbringing.
With Tony
you and Tony,
DePaulo.
you and Tony, a street over, a few houses over. But was there anything about growing up in a small town that gave you a perspective on business or life that you don't think people who grew up in a bigger town get?
I mean, people in small towns don't know what paid parking is.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a really great question, but I feel like where I grew up, it's a lot different. Yeah. It's super different. There is no such thing as paid parking. And my dad and I have this conversation all the time because we talk about EVs, right? Where I am like, my town that I grew up in, which is Gallup, New Mexico, is a through town. It's on I-40. And it connects, Gallup is probably your biggest city, if you want to call it a city, between Albuquerque and Phoenix, Arizona. And so growing up there and dealing with like business politics, it's a lot different because we're surrounded by many reservations, right? We're surrounded by the Navajo reservation, the Hopi, the Navajo and the Hopi reservation, which are two big reservations, where we go back and forth about these business politics being adopted,
Right.
And so it definitely has, given me like moving out of Gallup into, going to a bigger city, Albuquerque, going to college, and then coming to Denver, it's definitely given me a different perspective in business politics,
Right.
I would say. And
I know you love New York and some of these other like really large cities. Do you think that growing up in a small city made you yearn almost for like something like a New York? And
yeah. I knew that like I really appreciate where I grew up. But when I like growing up in Gallup, I always yearned for like a bigger city,
right?
A bigger city. And I actually always thought that I would end up in New York.
Right.
And till this day, I feel like I belong in New York, but, yeah, like there are so many things about growing up in a small, I wouldn't even say city, a small town, and yearning for like the bigger cities. I mean, it's just a completely different world. I don't like it's.
Small town girl in a big ass city.
It's true. It's true. It's definitely different. My parents still live in Gallup, and so even when they travel here to Denver, or we're in Phoenix, or I've taken them on a trip to New York. It's so different.
So they still live in Gallup.
They do, yeah. Huh. So they drove to Phoenix.
So Greg asked me, "Where are the parents?" And I was like, I think they're going to New Mexico on a different flight.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, they drove because it's only 4 hours. Like
Dani and I were on the same flight.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah. But yeah, like there's so much, like I actually now I will admit that I have a hard time going back to small town living.
Yeah. There's no like Hallmark movie you went back and the high school sweetheart and.
Oh my God, I hope not. You do not want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to that. So no. But I actually have a
Wait, Joe hasn't told you? There's a new arena opening up in Gallup.
Gallup.
You are going back
Good
home.
So the real question.
Yes.
What do you like better, the Red Rock Balloon Rally or the Albuquerque International Balloon Fest?
Oh my God, that's Joe, that's a good one because they're so different. Because you got small town, and then you got city.
Albuquerque being the city,
yeah. But also
it's a big balloon festival.
The Albuquerque Balloon, like International Balloon Fest, it's international, and so you got people from all over the world coming to Albuquerque for 12 days in the first 12 days in October, where it's insane. Like, so I'm actually gonna have to go with my local Red Rock Balloon Rally because it's incredible. Like you would.
Do they sell beer at Red Rock Balloon Rally? Can Conway get beer there?
I don't know because I actually don't know if it's in city limits or if it's on the reservation. If it's on the reservation, it's a dry reservation.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I'm not going to that balloon festival.
So John votes for Albuquerque. So we're tied 1-1.
You go to Albuquerque, you can get all the booze you want. But if you want to go for some like beautiful scenery, you go to Red Rock Balloon Rally.
Okay.
Good luck like finding a great place to stay in Gallup, but
I'll stay at Tony's parents' house.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Or Dani's parents' house.
Or,
you've met him.
Yeah,
that's right.
No. Just invite yourself over.
My parents will feed my mom will feed you Bud Light all day.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
Jan, do you have Coors Light though?
No, actually, I'm a Bud Light guy.
Yeah. Oh, are you?
But we have Coors here because they, can't get Bud Light.
And wherever we go, my mom's always like, it kind of kills me sometimes. She's like, we'll go to a really nice restaurant. She'll be like, can I get a Bud Light lime? I'm like, Mom.
So just so you know, we've been approached about taking this show outside of parking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we could start talking about some controversial and really getting down and dirty. But right now we're just talking about parking.
So okay, so
for now.
I don't know
I
if
think that's pretty cool.
I don't know if I answered your
did.
your
You
initial
did.
question, Joe.
You did answer that. Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You got some good questions.
Yeah. Let's go.
You had
What
me
else
put
you
my
got?
sunglasses on because I was a
hey.
little emotional.
John was turned up.
Well, let's talk about the industry a little bit. And we've obviously enjoyed it. Like we've made careers, we've supported our families, we've got our, family members into the industry. How do we attract more people, right? How do we get somebody to change from an industry in parking, or somebody that's new to the workforce to get in? So like if someone's sitting in front of you, what would you tell that person? Why should they get into parking?
I almost kind of want to counter that because I think that I would love to get so many people into the parking industry, but I think there are so many, I think operators and, so many companies require some type of parking experience right now. So I've been on a mission as of like the last year, I would say, to get people who aren't in parking into the parking industry specifically, because I think that getting people who don't know anything about the industry into the industry and teaching them what we want them to know.
Because you're trying to change.
Special. Yeah, no, absolutely. But
you're trying to make change, remember?
But I don't think it's like convincing somebody on the opposite end of the table to get into the parking industry. I think it's convincing people in the parking industry to let people who have no experience.
So is the root of your
industry.
So is the root of your question because everyone in the parking industry has the same story and we've all fallen into it by mistake?
Yeah. So how do we get other people to accidentally fall into parking?
Or not accidentally.
Or set the trap.
Right.
Yeah.
How do we set the trap?
Right. But I think to Dani's point, hiring for soft skills versus, technical parking skills, I think people have to open that door in order to find those folks who maybe not seem like a natural fit, but have everything that's needed to be a good fit in parking.
Right.
Whether it's on the operator side or technology side. And I think on the technology side it's more common. On the operator side, probably less common.
Right.
Right.
And I think that's more challenging because we see a lot of the operators moving over to the tech side, leaving these gaps on the operator side. So how do we get more well-rounded people that may not have parking experience to become a parking operator, but as part of the industry?
The industry is definitely evolving, right? Yeah. So I think what you're saying is that the operators are evolving.
Yeah.
And there's a gap there. Is that what I'm hearing?
That actually is another of my questions.
Yeah.
Right. And like, given this, how does the role of the operator evolve with the challenges of hiring and finding strong managers and leveraging technology, and how do those things go together?
Yeah. I mean, I think parking is definitely evolving. I think technology in everything that we do in everyday life is evolving. Obviously being in Phoenix all weekend, I mean, I've never seen so many vehicles driving without anybody driving.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It was very, it was everywhere. So, when you talk about technology, wow. So what were those things? I think they were Uber and Lyft, right? And so, I think, just like every industry, I think parking's evolving too. So if you could have told me 10 years ago that people would pull onto a parking lot and then leave and get a ticket in the mail, I probably would have said, no way, that's never happening. But that's the norm now, right? So what's the next norm in parking? What do you think?
Well, I don't know what the next norm is, but I do think that giving people the opportunity to join our industry is giving people the opportunity who are outside of our industry to join our industry, I think is what we as an industry need to be better about.
Yeah, I think that comes from recruiting and a little more publicity as people are a little more scholarships, a little more digging in. I know there's companies that are doing that, but I think it's that needs to be a movement.
Do you think?
And is that movement done by either IPMI or NPA? I'm not certainly full disclosure or disclaimer, but tell me what the purpose of NPA is. What are they?
It sounds like a whole nother episode.
I know it is another episode. So what do they do? What are they providing for our industry? I'm not picking on them. I'm just education. Right? Okay, that's one.
I think.
So you think it's their responsibility? Maybe it's maybe
it's an industry responsibility to provide education.
I think they're doing that, full disclosure.
Yeah.
So I don't want to piss anybody off.
Please don't, because we so many sponsors, John.
I know, I probably already have. I'm not pissing anybody off. I think Joe brings up a good point.
Let me ask you this question.
I think it's everyone's responsibility.
I'm guilty of this myself.
Yeah.
Part of when you talk to somebody about joining our industry, part of it is, and maybe we need to change this, is you almost try to scare them away from the industry.
Right. And you see if
you're
they
gonna
stick.
You're gonna have to work outside. It might be cold. Someone might yell at you. It's gonna be nice.
Somebody
on weekends.
might yell at you.
Well, somebody will yell at you.
Go on the other side of this wall. I've got 20 people over there. They get yelled at all day.
Yeah. But I think historically we've focused on sharing those things so people aren't surprised. But maybe that takes over from, you get to learn how to be a marketing person. You get to learn how to interact with executive level people that you may never get to work with before. And so I think even self-realizing that dialogue you have with somebody and trying to scare them away maybe is part of our problem, and that shouldn't be, it should probably be said in a different way, at least from how I've been presenting it to people.
And it's not a normal job, right? We are in the parking industry. People who know me very well till this day still don't understand why I work sometimes 7 days a week. Right. They're like, "What? You don't work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5?" And I'm like, "No,
you're in New York, man.
City that never sleeps." I think.
Yeah. Right? So let me ask you a question then.
Never sleeps, which I need sleep.
So let me ask you a question then. Is one of the solutions, or should our industry be recruiting right out of high school?
No.
Ooh,
she says
all
no.
right.
Wow, that was quick.
That was fast too.
That was fast. Yeah. The tech industry does recruit right out of high school. So you said no pretty quick. I'd love to hear.
The parking tech industry?
No, the real tech I shouldn't say real. God, I'm putting parking.
That was a self-put down. That was a self-put down by John.
Now we're not tech savvy.
I'm not saying that. I'm talking about like the Googles and the... So what you said no quick. Why are you against that?
I don't think it's a bad idea.
Well, it's not an idea. People are doing it.
In the parking industry?
No, not in the parking.
Industry,
yeah.
Which apparently to you we're not a part of.
No.
So.
I'm not going to live that down. I deserve that. I'm going to put my sunglasses.
Yeah, you might want to do that.
No, I mean,
I'm going to give you the evil eye. You can't see it now.
Maybe I take that back a little bit, but in a sense, sure. Okay. Why not? But for what purposes are we using them in lots? Are we using them as enforcers? Which, we're not.
Could you bring somebody up that is?
Yeah, but okay. But my question to you is, where do they start? Where are we putting them? Where are we starting? Because the parking industry right now is moving to more of a free flow kind of model, right? We don't need people in the lots anymore. So when we're recruiting straight out of high school, are we recruiting them to dispute citations? What are we bringing them into? Because are we almost doing them a disservice? I guess that would be my counter.
Okay, so my response, I guess, to that would be, then who are we trying to recruit into our industry? That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, no, and I get that, but I guess
I'm just saying,
where are we trying? Where are we pulling from? Where are we recruiting? What do we want them?
I'm just saying, I think, could you pull somebody out of high school and develop their career better and have them have a faster track than maybe going to college and then winding up somewhere?
Sure.
I think the reality is
giving somebody an opportunity.
What you're both saying is actually accurate. So to Dani's point,
I agree.
The entry-level positions we had 10 years ago are a fraction of what they are today.
Correct.
Cashiers, attendants,
Totally get it.
enforcement is a fraction. But I do think we need to recruit everywhere and anywhere we can. And if we can get somebody interested in the industry, and I'll use my own son as an example, right? Who reluctantly started in the industry and said, I'm not gonna follow you, but like found something that he really loves. And I think he does a great job at, and, could see a career in the industry, but
absolutely.
I think it's a little combination of both.
I think that gets back to when we were talking to Tony from the golf tournament briefly, them giving people second chances and things like that.
Absolutely.
I think giving somebody a chance out of high school that might not have an opportunity or doesn't want to go to college, I think there's something there.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Could we be
they could have a great life.
Could we be the new trade school?
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. I like that.
I just made that up. It's pretty good.
No, I think it's good.
We're entering a new business idea.
All right.
Well, a new influence path.
There you go.
That's right.
So I really want
parking influencers.
And this is I'm going to put everybody on notice. Like after because I have some criticisms. Like I've talked about. Oh, this shit. Why are we doing this at this Las Vegas 20 times? And who knows? I'm not involved. I'm sure there was a reason, but I want to get involved in. There's some people there, I want to be part of the new blood, even though I'm old blood, like the IPMI board and the NPA board. Like, what's going on? I want to be involved in that. I do.
Yeah.
I feel like they need to have like entrepreneurs and people that are not just, and this is, again, I'm not criticizing, but the people that'll stand up and go, like, seriously, man, we're not doing that. Like, this is,
to be the voice of reason.
I'm not a voice of reason, but there'll be another voice of reason in the room that'll say, okay, yeah. But there might be like,
but to be the voice of disruption. How about that?
Maybe that's right.
And I mean, it goes to heart with the Oakview Group's model of positive disruption in the sports and entertainment industry. But like, I think things need to be disruptive.
That's
and
right.
I think when you're not disruptive, then things don't grow and evolve. And so that's, I think that's a great point.
I think there's room for change. And I think we need it because the status quo of it's just not work. I mean, I don't know. I think this is just my personal opinion. I think we have I think you've sparked some deep conversation here that could go, I think this industry as a whole needs to have some change in order to bring different people in, like you brought up, and all these different things. We can't, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think it's a great point.
We're going to hit every emotion with you today, Johnny.
I think so.
Well, let's get a little in the shallower end.
Joe,
why don't we do that?
First and foremost, I think we might just need you on every episode because we're staying on a great track here.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a little shallow. We're going to call this segment the Fast Five.
All right, let's do it.
A little more fun
Did you hear
questions.
that, producer? Fast Five.
A little more
with Joe Leung.
All right.
He's going to be in podcasting. He just doesn't know it yet.
Question number one.
Wait,
yes.
Yes. Is it a yes
This,
or no?
do we have a bell?
The first one. Well, I was about to get to that. So the first question, yes or no?
Okay.
Putting your shopping cart back in the corral is a good test of somebody's character.
Yes.
Putting your shopping cart back in the
The
corral.
fact that you didn't answer that in 2 seconds. Oh, I already know your answer.
Wait a minute. I don't understand it, to be honest with you.
So when you go grocery shopping, do you put it where it's supposed to go in the parking lot?
I put it back in the corral.
I
do.
All right. Good. Are there any other little character tests that you guys know or do? My wife's was, do you throw your stuff away after the movie or just leave it there for somebody?
Throw your stuff away.
So I have to answer this honestly.
Oh, great.
Honestly, when I was going to the movies, I never knew that you had to do that or did that. So the first time I realized that is a thing to do.
That your mom didn't work at the
do you
movie
remember
theater?
Chris Connolly?
I know him. Yeah, very well.
Yeah, he took us to a show down at, he was the Broadway guy. So he took us to a show at the DPAC.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we had a bunch of stuff and he was picking it up and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, you you do this at the movie theater. And I was like, no, I don't. And so
I bet you do now, though.
I do. I pick up the stuff to the point where, if my wife spilled popcorn, I'm like on the floor, like
Sweeping it up,
putting it into the thing. So, of course, I blame the spilling. If my wife's listening, it was probably me. Did you guys catch that? Yeah, I blamed it on her. It was me.
Of course. It wasn't you, Michelle.
Sorry, Michelle.
Awesome.
It was. I know it was me.
All right, number 2.
Yep.
What's a quote or motto that you live by?
Oh, I got this one.
Get
it?
Well, let's hear it.
No, because that's not
Get
what
it fucking done.
There you go.
Get it fucking done.
I live by that too, John.
Yeah. All right.
No excuses. Do the work.
Yep.
You played softball. Did you ever play baseball or softball?
I played both.
Okay.
I played softball with a bunch of fraternity brothers right up until a few years ago.
All right. What's your walkout song?
Ooh.
Where are we going to drink beer?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe that.
Where are we meeting? We're drinking beer somewhere.
That's your walkout song? Is that a song?
It was a song in my head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was a private song. Where are we going to drink beer?
It's a soon to be written song.
Yeah, I can
lyrics,
put music. My brother can put music to it.
There you go.
Sure.
There you go.
Matter of fact, we'll open that up in the second season.
Danny, what's your walkout song?
Oh, it's probably something along the lines of T.I.
Yeah.
Some very heavy. I guess it's not very heavy rap, but definitely T.I. I'm going to say either Bring 'Em Out or Top Back.
All right.
So what a walk-off song is like?
Walk out.
Walk out.
Walk out. Like, is that like a drop the mic thing?
No, when you go to bat,
song.
You've been to a Rockies game.
Song, yeah.
Yeah, the song when you used to walk out and
Shit.
bat.
Wow.
Like what? Like you don't like. What do you listen to when you drive to the office in the morning? Don't you get in like a mindset?
He listened to your podcast to like take notes
I
about the
listen to
next
Zach
one.
Bryan.
Okay.
All right.
I mean,
Yeah.
is that going to get you pumped up to hit a home run?
No.
Okay. So what?
But to drink beer, it will.
So now I think it's really funny. My initial answer. I didn't know what the fuck you were talking about. Okay. That's ridiculous.
Well,
that
that would be why I asked if you played baseball.
No, I get it.
makes- it
I'm
connects
too
now.
old. We
Connects
didn't
now.
have any walk-off songs.
Walk up.
Walk up, walk
All
off.
right. I think we're
Shit.
good with that one. All right. But parking buzzword,
Sorry.
kiss, marry, kill.
Okay.
Mobility hub, curb management, and frictionless. Kiss, marry, kill. Mobility hub, curb management, frictionless.
I would kiss Mobility Hub.
Right.
What was the
Curb management and frictionless.
I would kill curb management. And then what was my last one?
Frictionless.
I know. What are the other ones though? Kill, marry, what?
I'm making it PG-13.
Okay.
Kiss, marry, kill.
Kiss, marry, kill.
Oh, so that means I have to marry frictionless, which sounds very dirty.
I'm marrying frictionless. Yeah, baby. I got married before the question.
Well, the unintended consequences of asking a question like that's, yeah.
Yeah.
Marrying frictionless.
Okay.
What's the other? Kiss.
Curb management and mobility hub.
I'm killing mobility hub.
Yeah.
And I'm kissing curb management.
All right.
All right.
Woo!
All right.
There you go, Romy.
Question number 5.
Yeah.
What's your hidden talent?
You go first. Wow.
Oh God, this is embarrassing.
I know.
Joe.
Shit. I can drink 25 beers.
I mean, that's not hidden,
John, I said
Conway.
hidden.
Okay.
Hidden talent.
Let's see.
Jeez, this is.
I got a few. I just gotta fill out which one I want to like expose.
Yeah.
I think I can answer that.
All right, go for it.
Tenacious. Very tenacious.
For you?
Yeah. It's
That's your
Kind
hidden
of.
talent?
I think so. I'll never give up.
Yep.
Oh, well, that's not fun. I mean,
I
that's
know.
great.
I
That's a
think it's
great hidden
fun.
talent. But I thought we were talking like I was going full circus here.
Yeah.
I actually like getting knocked down a couple times. It's fun.
I mean, What's that song? Oh, that
You're,
should
you're
be
the
that
Rocky
should be
of parking.
that should be your walkout song. What is that?
I'm not
Chumbawamba.
I'm not that cool. I'm
So
not
John's
that cool.
walkout song is Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba.
I get knocked down and I get up again. Well, that's a Rocky.
That's
theme
Rocky.
song.
Maybe that's it.
That is not
Oh my
Chumbawamba.
God. It's pretty cheesy. Here comes Conway. Couldn't he have picked something better?
It's like I'm not gonna try to sing on air right now because that would be. I'm with you, Joe.
Yeah, you got the Chumbawamba reference.
Yeah, I do.
I'm almost
Chumbawamba.
embarrassed. I know it's Chumbawamba, but
No, and
I
I'm
don't have
singing
a
it in my
clue.
head,
Yeah.
and I just don't want to,
Yeah.
But okay.
yeah. All right. I'll let you guys get away with no hidden talents.
Oh no,
No,
I got.
I said
that's-
tenacious.
Tenacious.
That's not
Yeah.
a hidden talent. Though,
Like a hidden
John.
talent is like you
We're
could do
like
a
talking-
backflip
yes.
or
Oh,
Jump
I
off of-
see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
What is my hidden talent?
All right,
I
Dani.
can
Dani
ski. I can ski pretty good.
You can ski. All
Yeah.
right.
Even today.
You scared?
That's still not a hidden talent, but okay. Like,
Okay, so what is your hidden talent?
well, I grew up in theater, so I
Okay.
was in theater, so I learned how to walk on stilts, which is very strange. But I can walk on stilts. If you gave me a pair of stilts, I
that's
could walk
cool.
on
Here's
stilts.
where we're
See that?
going.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay.
hidden talent.
And my till this day, my parents,
Jeez.
I think they still have a pair of stilts. Not that I walk on them when I go home or
Just
anything.
nostalgia
but
I'm a good
purposes.
juggler.
Yeah.
If you got to like dust up high, you can juggle.
I
Wow,
can juggle pretty
really?
good. Yeah.
You ever see the guy out at
I can
maybe
do
season. I think in season 2 we're gonna have to do like a full video,
I
and we're
can
gonna
do
have to like
6 of those little
battle.
basketballs.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
What about
I'll bounce one
basketballs
off
or
my
bowling
head.
pins?
I can do bowling pins too.
Ooh.
See, that's a hidden talent.
That's a hidden talent.
There you
That's
go.
a hidden talent.
There you go. Today we had Joe Leung on the podcast, and we enjoyed our conversation so much we broke it into 2 parts. Be sure to listen to episode 9 and episode 10.